trauma. We hear about it, we think about it, we deal with it, we experience it. As you can see, my shirt says Blue Help. Blue Help. What does that mean? Why is that important? Why is that important to me? Well, I'll tell you, why is that important to me? How did I go from standing at the governor's mansion in 2015, receiving an award with my family, to 2016, walking into my department and saying, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm tired. I'm done. I have nothing else to give to the citizens of Virginia. I have nothing else to give to my family. I am done. How did I get there? How did I get to that point? I'll share a little story with you. I'll go back to September 25th, 2015. I lost a coworker. He was killed in a car crash. I arrived at his family house to do a death notification to his children and his wife. The next month, November, I responded to do a death notification. A young man lost his life on the day before Thanksgiving. His dad was a full-bird colonel, worked at the Pentagon. I get to the house. The mom's at the door. I knock at the door. I come in, and she's like, "What's wrong, trooper?" And I began to explain to her that she just lost her only son the day before Thanksgiving. I stood with her for 3 hours. Made contact with her husband, made contact with him. He comes to the home. Full-bird colonel standing in my arms weeping at the loss of his son. That's November. As we go on from November, then we come to December. We lost Officer ILEETA, killed by a drunk driver. I'm dealing with that. December comes 2016, February, you already heard the story before. Ashley Gwendon, Prince William County police officer, killed on the first day on the job. I was at the hospital when Ashley died. I leave the hospital to the escort to the ME's office. That's February. Then comes March. March, Trooper Chad Dermeyer, Richmond, Virginia. Virginia State Trooper gets shot and killed at the bus station. He go up to a gentleman, he began to speak to him, talk to him, gets shot right point blank. I'm at the hospital with his family. Chad Dermeyer was a Marine. I was in the Marine Corps. He's married to his wife the same time as I was married with my wife. He's no longer there. So I'm at the house now, grieving with his family. A couple of days later, what am I doing? I'm at Chad's funeral. I'm carrying him out as they're playing a Marine Corps hymn. That's March. April. A Fairfax County firefighter goes missing. Nicole Mittendorf, she goes missing. National news. Nicole goes missing. We can't find her. Here's the deal about Nicole. Nicole's husband is one of my coworkers. I've worked with him for 12 years. He's a state trooper. She's missing. So we went weeks looking for her. Well, so happened that the day I began to go search, we found Nicole. I was with Nicole's body for 6 hours until we can get the ME up to get her down. Devastated, thinking, oh my gosh, her husband don't even know. I just seen Nicole at the other trooper's funeral. We bring Nicole down with honor. I follow her to the ME's office. I get home, and for 2 nights I couldn't sleep. Everything that was on my mind was what I'd seen. Constantly reminder. A couple of days later, because Nicole is part of our family, I'm doing her funeral, participating in that. That's April. Then the day, May 17th, 2017. I'm working to get called, dispatched to a crash, to get on scene. There's 2 individuals, they're arguing back and forth, and as I sit in my cruiser, they come to me and they're yelling and screaming, and tears begin to come down my eyes. It wasn't tears of sadness, it was anger, rage. At that moment, I said, something has to happen. I finished that scene, went to my office and walked in and said, I am done. I have nothing else to give. I am tapped out. I'm mentally, emotionally drained. And you understand something? That's something we all experience in law enforcement. There's things we experience that we'll never, ever forget. It goes with us. It doesn't leave. So what happens then next? I take 6 months off of work. As I take this time off, I begin to do some research and find out that one of the biggest things we're not talking about in our profession is the trauma. What we're dealing with, what we're bringing home into our families. And I began to get into research and understand that many of our brothers and sisters in blue, in order to cope, guess what we're doing? We're popping pills to sleep at night. We're taking a bottle to heal and cure the pain that we're dealing with. Why? Because we suppress. We suppress and resuppress. Why? In order to do the job. Suppression. So one of the things that we can think ourselves and talk about, what has changed? What's been clear is that as of right now, we've lost 51 police officers to suicide. Why? Why? because of fear, the stigma of being able to say, you know what, I am hurting, I'm dealing with something because I'm supposed to act like I got it all together. But guess what, brothers and sisters? You don't have to act that way anymore. So why is that important? Why is it important? Because if we continue to walk around as if we're superheroes, we're going to continue to lose more brothers and sisters in blue. We're going to continue to have families suffering because of the trauma, and our fellow brothers and sisters in blue were so afraid that they take their life. So that's the mission of Blue Help. What is important to me is because our job and our mission is to help our fellow brothers and sisters in blue, to let them understand that, guess what, you're not alone. As I stand here today, I can tell you right now, somebody in this room right now thought about either today, last week, a couple of weeks ago, taking their life. But guess what? There's hope. There's hope for you. But there's certain things that need to happen in order for this thing to change in our profession. One of the things we need to do is start talking about it. Open it up. Sharing those things with our families. One of the biggest myths that we have is that work is work and home is home. But I would tell you, when you don't talk and you suppress and you stuff and you think you're protecting, it's going to come out in the family one way or the other. One day my daughter looked at me and she said, Dad, sometimes I feel like I don't even know you. That hurt me. 16-year-old daughter. One time my wife looked at me and she said, sometimes it's like you're here, but you're really not here. And I tried to say, what does that mean? What is she saying? She said, I'm physically present, but I'm not emotionally and mentally present. Why? Because I left it out there. So what I tell you today is that you have to talk about these things. You have to talk about these things because that's the only way we're going to change this culture that's happening today. We cannot be satisfied until officers begin to share their stories. We cannot be satisfied until supervisors realize that their men and women are suffering, being aware of what's going on in the department. We can't be satisfied until supervisors have the courage to say, you know what, I was suffering too. I've dealt with those issues, to make it safe for their law enforcement members to come forth and say, you know what, I'm struggling. We can't be satisfied until we continue to talk about this thing so that it gets national attention. We can't be satisfied until we get this information up on Capitol Hill and we get better mental health awareness for our brothers and sisters in blue. We can't be satisfied until these things change. So my question for you is, what are you going to do with the information that you received, the information that you've gotten tonight, understanding that as of right now, we've lost 51 souls because of the trauma and the stress and the fear of coming forth to talk about it? What are you going to do with that information? It's crucial. Why is it crucial? Because law enforcement, the future of it depends on you. It depends on you sharing that information. It depends on you talking about the issues that you've dealt with and struggled with. It depends on you to do all those things. Because if you don't do those things, that's the future of our law enforcement. If you don't do those things, it could be you. So what are you going to do with that information? What are you going to do? Thank you.